Hey guys, hello and welcome to Naveed for Speed. In today's video, I am going to tell you some of the best features and some of the worst features of the new facelifted Isuzu D-Max. Throughout this video, I'll try and explain some of the newer features that come with this new facelifted version of the car and which of those features I like and which of those features I'm not too keen on. So without further ado, I think we should start with one of the features which I really like about this car, and that is the exterior looks, but in particular the changes that they've made to this new version of the car, from the front radiator grille, which is a little bit more aggressive, to these newly designed headlights with this sort of triple light effect in there. I think the designs that they've made, the changes that they've made to the front of the car look really nice. This bonnet slopes down, you get a better view from the driver's seat, but it actually looks a little bit more stylish as well. I really like that. One of the biggest changes to the exterior design has to come in the form of the wheels. Now, the alloy wheels are still the same throughout the trim levels. You still get silver, two-tone and dark color as well from the DL20, DL40 and the V-Cross, but they come with this new design. And for the V-Cross, this is the new design. I really quite like this design. It looks quite brutal. It looks quite, strong. It looks quite solid and as if it means business. I really quite like that design. For the rest of the side of the car, the design hasn't changed that much. You still get side steps, you still get dark in the back of the mirrors. I mean, on this particular car, it's black. This car's black, so you won't really get a sense of the contrast between the door handles and stuff like the back of the mirrors compared to the paint color. But I really quite like the fact that this dark colour, which comes in V-Cross vehicles anyway, that's not part of the facelift. What is part of the facelift is the back of the car, because you've got V-Cross branding across the tailgate, this newly designed tailgate. If you have a DL40 or a DL20 version of the car, the tailgate comes with branding on it, but slightly smaller. And you've got the triple shield tail light design. I really quite like that. I think even though it's a very small change to the back of the car, it makes a huge difference in terms of this new design. And so when it comes to the exterior styling of this new Isuzu D-Max, the facelifted version, I really quite like it. Another feature of the facelifted Isuzu D-Max that I really quite like is this infotainment screen, this multicolored 9-inch screen on this V-Cross version. In some of the other versions of the car, you get an 8-inch screen, but here you got this 9-inch screen. And the reason why I like it is because it is so much more responsive than the previous version. You know, straight away, first time you click everything, it's nice and easy to change whatever systems that you want to do. You can find out all the details about your car. You've got loads of other features on here. So for example, you can turn on and off the driver assistance features using this screen over here. You can also check what angles the car is on when you're going off-road. You got the tire pressure monitor here. Don't know why it's not showing anything even though I've got the car started. And you can see what mode you're in, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, etc. Now there is something which I do have to mention which I don't like about this car, is some of the swipe features. That should be able to, there we go, I managed it just about. I think you have to do it from the bottom here. I spent so long trying to do it from up here and it just wouldn't go. And I think you have to do it from the bottom here. But that brings me on to something which I do like about the car, is the fact that from this home screen, you can see a load of different features. See, I'm struggling again. You can see a load of different features, like your tire pressure monitoring. You can see, the one that I quite like is, not on this screen yet, I need to move it. Here we go, I went past it. There we go, is this screen here, because it tells you what drive mode you're in. So currently the car's in rear wheel drive only, and if I switch this button down here, which previous Isuzu D-Maxes have as well, on the fly you can change it from rear wheel drive to four wheel drive. And then you can also engage, well, if you stop the car, you can also engage low range gearbox as well. That's going to take me on to another feature which I quite like, which is if you press this button right over here, you get this rough terrain mode. And I'll show you over here on the screen, you can see it actually says rough terrain. Now this rough terrain mode, you can use it in 2-wheel drive version, you can use it in 4-wheel drive version, you can use it with the low range on, you can even use it, I'm being told, don't quote me on this, in reverse as well. Now this rough terrain mode is actually really useful, especially if you're going off-road. But basically what it is it's a more aggressive version of traction control. So if you find yourself really struggling for traction, it can, you know, a more exaggerated way, it can put the power to certain different wheels where you need the traction. This rough terrain mode is actually seriously impressive. Stay tuned for my next video where I'm going to show you a little bit more about when I took the car off road, and you'll be able to see that in action. So make sure you subscribe to this channel, make sure you stay tuned for my next video, and I'll show you that. The rest of this interior is quite similar to the Isuzu D-Max, the previous version, the pre-facelift. You still get sort of a similar design throughout. You get a few extra features like the design of the seats and stuff like that, but generally the interior is quite the same. So as far as a facelift, it's not that much progressive in terms of the way the interior looks. In terms of the way this car drives on the road, again, it's not that progressive. But there's stuff going on in the background. Now that's a good feature that I like. You've got this sort of sensor at the front over here, which scans the road ahead. It's now wider and it can scan further. You've got tire pressure monitoring on the infotainment, the instrument cluster in front of you as well. The 7-inch digital instrument cluster, sorry, mixing up my words there, in front of you. I really quite like that now. It gives you so much more crisp information at a larger with larger numbers and larger words. I quite like that. So overall, the interior is in a way not much different, but it's also massively different. So that's a kind of a positive and a negative. I'd say probably more positive actually. Another feature of the Isuzu D-Max that I like is the truck bed, or the load capacity, basically your boot that you get in this car. In this particular version, I've got a canopy on the top of it, so I have to use the key to unlock the canopy, which I'm not always a fan of. But anyway, you've got, the car is locked, isn't it? Let me unlock it using the key that I've got up here. And then if I pull this down, it's got dampers as well, so it comes down nice and slowly. But in here you've got a load of around 1.5 meter by 1.5 meter, and the depth of it is about 0.5 meter. So you've got a considerable amount of size, and this can carry 1 ton load. So you can carry considerably heavy items back here, and you can use it for all sorts of stuff. You can use it for, obviously, if you're using it for work, for commercial purposes, or if you just need to carry stuff from, you know, if you're moving houses, for example, although I think you'd probably need something a little bit larger than this to carry houses. But when we talk about the capability of Isuzu D-Max vehicles, we're not just talking about them off-road, we're talking about what they can carry in the back here, and also what they can tow. This car can tow 3.5 tons, so it's, you know, it's quite capable. But also it doesn't suffer from the lower speed limit, so there's no speed restrictions. You can drive this on roads as fast as you would drive your normal car. So for example, on a motorway at 70, on an A road at 60, for example, if that's a posted speed limit, stuff like that. So you don't have to go 10 miles an hour lower than that. So I really quite like that you have those extra capabilities, but it's essentially, you can use it just as an ordinary car. Right, another feature of the Isuzu D-Max that could be quite useful is these rear seats. Now, of course, we know you can fit 3 passengers in the rear seats. I've mentioned this in previous Isuzu D-Max reviews. But one thing which I haven't mentioned, and I didn't actually know, well, I'd heard that you can do it, but I didn't actually know how to do it, is you can actually fold these seats flat. So if you just pull this over here, you can actually fold these seats down flat. So if the rear load bed isn't enough for you, you've got more space to store stuff back here. So again, for using this car commercially, if you need to carry stuff, if you need to transport stuff, you've got more space back here, and this opens up a bigger variety of uses that you can use this car for. So I think that's quite interesting. I don't know why exactly you would use this, but I feel like it would be useful. So there you have it. That's a brief video on some of the changes and some of the features of the new Isuzu facelifted D-Max. Now, in general, the car is still the same car. Underneath it still has that 1.9 litre diesel engine, still comes with 165, roughly around 164 horsepower, still comes with the same load capacity, same towing weight. Generally it's the same. There are just a few changes to the car that make it that little bit nicer to look at, possibly nicer to drive, but definitely more capable off-road. So ultimately it's not a revolutionary car, but it's still a step forward. This is progress. So the Isuzu D-Max, in my eyes, is a good pickup truck. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you stay tuned for the next video. Thank you and take care.